How's it going, guys? I'm Connor from Running Warehouse. I'm here with Bob Fay, footwear merchandiser at ASICS, and today we are going to be looking at two shoes. In my right hand, we've got the ASICS Noosa Tri 14, and in my left hand, we've got the ASICS EvoRide 3. Now, these are two new additions, not huge changes, but Bob, I want to get a little bit of your thoughts on these two shoes. They look aesthetically very different, but they do have a very similar core philosophy. Can you tell us a little bit about each of these shoes?
Absolutely, yeah. In terms of visual, absolutely like on the opposite ends of the spectrum, right? You've got all the color and energy in the Noosa. You've got a little more of a neutral color palette to EvoRide, but shared DNA, and that starts underfoot. They both are in our Ride series, so they've got this guide sole construction, this kind of aggressive rocker shape to the forefoot that really gives you a pop, energy, makes it great as kind of a jack of all trades, daily trainer, but also if you want a tempo or even on race day, you can get into it. So it really works across the spectrum. In terms of kind of differentiation, you've got Noosa, a little more triathlon geared, so a bit more breathable, gusseted tongue, lean back heel, pull tab, easy in and out of the shoe. Whereas the EvoRide's just a little more stripped down, focused on clean aesthetic, clean fit and feel, almost a little bit of a race upper to it.
So you are going to have a little bit difference of an on-foot experience from an upper standpoint, but overall a very similar underfoot experience. Taking a look at the midsole, it looks very similar to the last version, but are there any updates that are going to give it a slightly different experience?
Yeah, so from a visual standpoint, you're consistent with EvoRide 2, but have lowered the durometer a little bit, give a little softer step in, and also the added benefit of some weight decreases to that tuning itself.
Perfect. So very similar experience, but maybe a little bit softer. I feel like when we look at the first version of this shoe, it did kind of run a little bit firmer. And then when you got to version 2, you got a little bit higher stack heights, a little bit softer. Now with version 3, that same feel, but even softer underfoot. So I think in my experience, when you go softer, as long as you don't get too mushy, it tends to be a very comfortable experience that I personally really like. Now, moving on down to the outsole, no huge changes here. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, consistent there. A lot of it's about this guide sole shaping. So getting this toe spring engineered where you do have that softness, you still have pop, energy, roll and ride to the shoe.
All right, now finishing these two shoes off, we got to talk about the upper. Maybe let's start off with the Noosa because this is the one that seems to catch a lot of people's eyes. Can you dive in a little bit about the specifics and why having this much breathability is important for an event like the Tri?
Yeah, so good to stay cool first and foremost, but coming out of the water, giving you breathability, drainability, keeping you dry, keeping you blister free. It's great to wear sockless, but if you're just going out and running a few miles like me, you can throw socks on with it as well.
And I know this shoe kind of maybe sometimes gets pigeonholed as a Tri shoe, but why would someone who just, maybe likes the aesthetic benefit from an upper like this?
Yeah, I think breathability, lightweight, it's got, you're not sacrificing durability to the upper, but you are getting those kind of additional added benefits versus what you'd see in a normal kind of inline model.
Now, moving on over to the EvoRide, why would you want maybe a little bit more traditional of an upper? What are going to be some of the benefits and maybe drawbacks compared to the Noosa?
Yeah, go-to reliability to this. It's a little bit heavier, a little more kind of overall lockdown. I don't necessarily think there's drawbacks. It'd just be a different fit feel experience. I'd say the biggest differentiator in terms of upper is color. You're going to get all kinds of color here, all about energy, prints, patterns, full sublimation through the season. Here it's a little toned down.
Well, there's so many different options right now with ASICS. You guys are killing it on every avenue, from daily training to performance to race day. Where do you feel like the EvoRide and Noosa Tri fit in the collection? Why would someone maybe want to add it to their training lineup?
Yeah, I think it works for any distance, any pace. We call it the jack of all trades internally. If you're running in more a core traditional shoe, this is a great tempo offering. Get up, pick up the speed, feel that pop. Or if you're just a faster runner inherently, this might be your long run shoe. So I think it works for a lot of runners out there and provides a pretty versatile experience.
Yeah, I kind of go back to that first version because that was a shoe I did a good amount of miles in, and while it worked for me, again, I felt like it was a little firm and it kind of was only good for certain days, where now these newest versions, they're getting softer, they're getting more versatile. It really is a shoe you can wear for speed day, for daily training, for race day. Really, it can work for a variety of needs and it's gonna have a lot of performance benefits. So I'm excited to see this newer version. It's softer, it's lighter, it's gonna continue to have that same feel we've come to know and love with the series. If you're looking to get this shoe on your feet, when can you have it?
Yeah, we'll see this in the late summer of 22.